because we're such a big organisation on the Isle of Man, and one of the biggest employers on the island, our philosophy really is to give back to the local community, so creating prosperity for the generations of tomorrow. And that for us is a key element of what we do. So we support loads of initiatives and have done so over the years. And working with Crossroads is just testament to how important that is for us.
And how did that come about then? How did that work start?
So back in 2018, Quilter PLC, our parent company, put an initiative together and basically decided that they were going to invest 1.5 million pounds into young carers across the UK. And as we're part of the business, we were looking as to how that would translate for us here on the island. And so we started researching and looking at charities on the island that actually work with young carers. And we came across Crossroads Care, and that's kind of how the conversation started with Crossroads, really.
And what are you going to be doing for Crossroads?
So we've got a range of activities planned. It's a 3-year partnership that we're working with Crossroads on. And as part of that 3-year, we're going to be doing things like cake bakes and organised activities, not just as employees of Old Mutual International, but actually working collaboratively with Jackie's team. So anything that Crossroads are doing, looking to see how we can work together and support them. And then there's obviously the volunteering element as well. So we've been talking to the team at Crossroads as how we can help volunteering for activities and that kind of thing too.
So, Jackie, I mean, this is great news from Crossroads' point of view, not only from a financial perspective, but also from the notion of volunteers as well. What sort of a boost do you think this gives to you and specifically this Young Carers project?
It's an amazing accolade. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. It is wonderful to have been recognised, not only for the work that we do as an organisation, but actually for those young people. I think it's just wonderful. And the fact that they want to volunteer and they're very excited. So when we went to launch it, everybody was really enthusiastic. Our PR lady and the Young Carers team have heard from them since. The whole thing is just so exciting and so lovely for us as an organisation. I feel very proud that we're actually involved in this.
And when you say young carers, what sort of ages are we talking about here?
We literally have, we over the years, it is definitely sort of evolved. We've got an inclusive nursery. So our inclusive nursery is primarily there for people with children with additional needs. So anybody who's got a disability or additional need. We also take on baby young carers. So it might be a young mum might have just been diagnosed with something. It could be for any reason, because disabled people do have their own children, because it's all about inclusivity. So for us, we can actually have them from babies, really, because they're going to turn into young carers. Then the project actually starts from 5 to 8 and then upwards right the way up to 21. So it's actually vast. And a lot of those older young carers, so your 18 to 21s, turn into adult carers. So they swap from being one of our young carers into an adult carer.
And do you find that I don't know how much they interact, the carers, with each other, but do you find that there is a sort of element of support from the older carers to the younger carers?
I think caring is exhausting, and I think it is really hard because it can be all-consuming. So it's a bit like being diagnosed with something and joining a club. That's quite hard and quite enduring. So carers is a funny word, isn't it? Because I don't think all carers want to hang out with other carers. It's nice for young carers to do that because they've got that peer support. I think by the time you turn into an adult carer, you're exhausted.
The thing is, though, is I suppose some people just do what they do on a day-to-day basis and don't actually see themselves as a carer.
Oh, indeed, because most of us know, touch wood, that we're going to grow older. And if you have a partner, one of you is going to give out at some point. Yes. I think for us, many people that we've got on our books have been doing it for years and years and years. And whilst Crossroads is there for caring for the carers, we are also there to help them to stop caring. You shouldn't have to be made to do it. Some of our carers have been on the books. Crossroads is 31 years old this year, and some of them I've been on the books for 31 years. That is a long time to actually have a caring role.
So what sort of things can you do then to ensure that happens, that maybe they don't need to do it anymore?
We have supported people to enable people to go into residential homes, nursing homes. We've had teams around the family. There's lots of different ways that you can help somebody to, to become themselves again. I think it's quite important, because you do get very lost in the world of caring, because it always becomes about the cared for. And a lady once said to me, and I've said it before, in Port St Mary, she said, "The day my husband had a stroke, I became Mrs. Stroke." And I thought that actually says it all.
But with that notion, like Beth was saying, that, a lot of people may not actually consider themselves to be carers, at what stage then, and how do they end up on your radar?
We actually have complete, anybody can refer in. So your next door neighbour can refer in, a family member can refer in, the Department of Health and Social Care can refer in. So they tend, and people themselves obviously phone up. So it tends to come through through other people. And we just go out and do an assessment, and where we can we do it. I think it's very strange, because this is why it's wonderful having Old Mutual do this, is it's like the forgotten army. And it's very strange for me, because when people are dying, people actually really pull together, and people will throw money at it. But if you're on a journey to that and it takes a long time, nobody really wants to know about that. And I guess you don't think about it until it happens to you.
And Wendy, how much did you know about the notion of caring before you became involved with this? Have you learnt quite a lot from being involved?
We have, actually. We've only been involved for a short period of time, but actually we've learned so much, and I personally have learned quite a bit. I mean, we've worked with Crossroads before, but never in the space in terms of the Young Carers Project and the Young Carers Initiative. And so when we started working and talking to Jackie, I was just amazed at how many young carers are actually out there. You go by your day-to-day business, and we're quite a small island, and you just think, wow, it is amazing that there are so many young carers out there that actually need help, that need their childhood. They need to be able to have a childhood. And what can we do to help drive and support some of that? Because it's difficult. It's difficult to be a child, but at the same time having to have that responsibility at such a young age.
And I suppose from the point of view of the person who's being cared for, when it comes to your children looking after you, there must be a huge amount of guilt involved in that as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, an awful lot of guilt. And it's just a very strange phenomenon, isn't it, that you've got to look after a parent. But I think for me, it's greater than that. So we've all got families, but at any one point, something can happen to change how that family lives their life. So you don't know if you're going to get a phone call to say somebody's been in a car accident. You don't know if you're going to go to Noble's Hospital and get a diagnosis. Nobody knows. So that's why it always astonishes me that it's not much more talked about, because what do you do in those circumstances? You can have this most wonderful life, and like that, it's gone. And that's the scary bit.
And I guess as well, Wendy, the idea of supporting a charity like Crossroads must be really crucial for somebody like Old Mutual, because these young people are then going to grow up into the adults of the future. And so it's also a notion of giving the support so that they can get the education that they need, that they have the extracurricular activities that they can do, and you supporting Crossroads helps that.
Absolutely. And part of the education piece actually is working with another charity that work with us called My Bank. They're a UK charity, and we run an education program where they come over every year, and we work with the secondary schools on the Isle of Man to promote financial education. And I was talking to My Bank recently, and actually we had a call with them this week. And as part of the program this year, we're going to work collaboratively with Crossroads and actually deliver some financial education to a group of young carers as part of the program. So it's not just looking at what we're doing from a fundraising point of view and from a volunteering point of view, but it's also looking at what we have access to as an organisation and how we can leverage that to help the young carers in that space.